good? Happy Thursday, Lucky Lefty podcast. Honora Boys in the building. Brought to you by Honora Whiskey, honorawhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, honorawhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you do so.
Responsibly.
You got to do it responsibly. You can go vote right now for the Lefties, Freshman of the Year, Coach of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Biggest Story of the Year over at YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. Hit the notification bell. That thumbs up. Smash it for us, man. We greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate you. And then audio edibles each and every day on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Man, it's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know. We spin it different.
Different.
Yes, sir. And we reside on CFB Nation. Presented by Twitch. Had left and trying to hold his notes lately. Been trying to hold
That's
his
right.
notes lately.
Gotta. Saw the Masked Singer a couple times. I was like, let me see if I can hit that tone right.
Man, left as always to start the show, man. What's smoking, man? Brought to you by Fashion Geek, AlonzoJackson.com. We run the city. I'm sorry, this is a Notre Dame centric podcast, but we're gonna do something on the Patreon about this a little deeper. But that Cat Williams is smoking, bro.
That's right.
Cat Williams is smoking.
That's right. I think he is the epitome of a person that works hard and is upset about people that take shortcuts.
Man.
And I think the shortcut thing is it strikes a chord with authentic people that work the craft. And you, like you said, the truth will be exposed. I think a good point that he was talking about, I think a lot of it was, I thought about Notre Dame. He said, how do you just show up to LA and got all these sitcoms lined up and you didn't put no work in, no standing ovations? At some point, we got to put the work in at quarterback. We got to hit those ground up clubs and hit those rough patches and be in some close games with a first time guy. We keep getting these industry transfer plants to try to fill the hole of what these guys have been working so hard for. I feel like Steve Angeli feel like he's Cat Williams. And Steve Harvey is Sam Hart, and Kevin Hart is Riley Leonard. Where these guys coming from? I'm the one that been in these practices getting cussed out and having good scout team days and taking some hits and making some plays and doing good in the spring game. Ground up. Sam Hartman done, just popped in here, won the MVP of the team. Popped in here and ran out last for senior day, got a standing ovation. He didn't grow up on this side. But he just getting blessed with everything. So I feel like you can't shortcut the game of football, and transfers make it look real attractive. But you get the real hard work when it's put in, it has results. And to be able to be a first time full starter and have 40 points on the board, I think it just shows what hard work can do when you don't have shortcuts.
Look, man, it's amazing in life that you sit back and you watch content, right? Whether it's Cat Williams on Shea Club, Shay, whether we're talking Notre Dame football, it's just amazing how it's really tough. And maybe it is the human spirit. And I'm not trying to get too deep in this. We'll get deep into it on the Patreon. It's amazing how people can listen to the same content and literally fall on two sides of the coin. And then falling on both sides of the coin, literally just ignore facts in the midst of, if you think Cat Williams is a joke, fine. You want to laugh about him getting beat up by a mid schooler, fine. Did Cat Williams say some things that were like over the top in the interview? Yes. That's who he is, right? It's the same effect with Kanye. Like, is Kanye gonna
Same
say some
effect with
controversial,
Kanye.
over the top stuff? Yes. Matt Hoffa had DJ SNS, who was a legend in Chicago, on his podcast, and he was like, dude, Kanye's been the same thing I said to you, Left, from my experience around him. Kanye's been doing this since he was 16, bro. Like, to cats in
Yeah, they
Chicago,
say he been doing this off the wall stuff since he was
like,
the dude in the polo.
people in Chicago laugh at Kanye because we know, like, this is Kanye. Like, it is what it is. Cat, he's gonna be Cat. But the information that he's releasing, yo, it's crazy. It's really crazy, man. And I thought it just pointed out once again, like, the sensibilities in the current times are still are easily offended just by conversation. Just conversation. Like, literally moments after he made the claim, Cedric the Entertainer responded. He never denied that he didn't steal the
Never
joke.
denied that he
Never
didn't steal it,
denied
and
that he
never
didn't
denied
steal
that he
the joke.
can't dance and can't sing.
And then video evidence is posted. And people want to discredit Cat because, oh, well, he's a clown. Like, so we're just gonna ignore the facts based upon whether or not we like somebody. Or it, man, look, and it's funny because even when you talk football or any other subject, music, arts, it's the same thing because it's just the culture of today. It's just the culture of today, man. And it's difficult to disseminate information. And then yesterday in leftovers, right? We had somebody, man, I forget their name, but they literally wrote a dissertation in response to what they felt like their biggest fear was going into the off season. And they did a really good job in their explanation. Did a really good job in their explanation. And I don't know if they were saying it should have been a top five. No, I think they said it was their top, which is hilarious to me. Their biggest concern was the safety position next year Left. And
The safety position?
yeah, they were like, I understand we have, it was almost like a contradiction. Like, I understand we have the Nagurski Award winner coming back at safety, but
But what? It matters a lot.
I don't know about the other safety. And Xavier Watts isn't Kyle Hamilton and he isn't Harrison Smith. And I'm like, he just won the Nagurski and he's gotten better every year.
I mean, he's truly had a
And
player development, switching sides of the ball, coming in as a receiver. I mean, he's really had a nice, versatile career. Whereas, Harrison Smith and Kyle Hamilton came in playing one thing and being good at it. But, their development came in increments.
mm,
Xavier Watts came in leaps and bounds.
and it's funny because he did stuff, dude. I have no problem with someone. He came with like his reasoning and his facts, and I was like, yo, I have to respect it, even though I might not see it the same way, and I definitely don't think it's one of the top five concerns. Like, because as much as you want to talk about, dude, didn't we have concerns about DJ Brown coming into the season?
Absolutely.
And safety, dude, Notre Dame safeties weren't great. Notre Dame is top five in just about every pass defense efficiency. And that's without having a bunch of sacks. Now, they were top 10 in pressures. But to say the safeties are like one of the top 5 questions, nah. Nah. Ben Minich and Adon Shula are better athletes than DJ Brown, in my opinion. Like, you're going to be better athletically at the safety position. Ramon Henderson, he's in the transfer portal. He's gone. Okay. Now, I don't like, honestly, from watching film, I don't like the Rod Hurd kid. I don't want to take anybody else from Northwestern. If Ben Skoranek is the best transfer we have from Northwestern, I'll pass. Like,
I mean,
Jordan Clark,
what's
does
the
he play
attraction
safety?
that we keep sending our scouts down there? Do we have a scout on their team that's sending, inside info up to Notre Dame? Like,
It's
take a
just,
look at this
dude,
guy.
it's just the
Is it
credits,
proximity? I
academic.
hope it ain't proximity because we don't recruit
No,
Chicago high
it's an
school well.
easy transition from Northwestern academics to Notre Dame academics. That's number one. Like, people are probably going to be mad that I say this. Northwestern's a darn good academic school. It ain't that far from Notre Dame. If you want to say Notre
No,
Dame is
it's
better,
not far.
it's not that much difference
They
from Notre
align in
Dame.
core values.
Yeah. So as far as like being able to get the transfer in, especially if it's a
But
grad
we make
transfer,
these like arranged marriages with Northwestern transfers. Like it's just a done deal. You don't really hear too much scouting. It's just like, oh, we getting this guy in from Northwestern, a nice transition guy, crossover. He just taking his retirement, 2-year retirement plan at Notre Dame or something. Like maybe we share the same courses and classes. That's what makes it so easy, is that Ben Skoranek probably picked up on a few classes that Notre Dame shared with Northwestern or something. But it's anything but a football connection. I tell you that.
but shout out, hey, Northwestern might be one of the biggest stories of the college football season. Like, to
Yeah,
lose
they
your
great
coach
story. They went
and the
from
scandal,
under 500 to a 10-win team.
dude. I think the over under that dude. If you bet the over for Northwestern, that over under after the scandal, if I'm not mistaken, dropped to 3.5 left.
Oh my God, they won like, oh yeah, you would have been
Three
big
and a
money on
half. You would have made a lot of
That's
money.
the Dion of the season right there.
Man, you made a lot of money if you bet the over on
Oh
Northwestern.
man.
A lot of money. Shout out to you, because I thought they were going to be flat out awful, especially after the scandal. I was like,
Yeah,
oh man, they're going to be
they
awful.
also face a recruiting issue, but they seem to have some development on their end where they get guys that are pretty fast.
Let me tell you something that impresses me about Northwestern. Northwestern shocks people from a football standpoint, and we could definitely tie this into what we talked about with Notre Dame. Northwestern, every 3 to 4 years, has a team that challenges for the Big Ten. They're never in the top 20 in recruiting. They're never in the top 5 of recruiting in the Big Ten, ever. But
Never,
every
never,
3 to 4 years, they're challenging
and first
for
round
the Big
picks.
Ten championship, getting first round picks or a first round pick, and making it to bowl games consecutive years.
Yeah, giving
You, you
challenges to
know,
teams.
you know what that means? They have a hell of a developmental staff.
But they also fall into those categories of teams that become really veteran over those same 3 or 4 years because a lot of those guys stay the entire time and grow
Hmm.
as a unit and have experience and become these Oklahoma States where they're, all 5th-year seniors and, been playing together since high school, those type of things. So those are the schools that, like you said, every 3 or 4 years, aka Duke, built up Ryan Leonard, was really good for a point, and then they'll fall back down to their 6 or 7 win game seasons.
Yeah,
But when that class that comes in during that first 6, 7 game season, about 2 or 3 years, they'll win 11 games. That's just how it goes.
yep. DE, thank you for tapping in. Says Coach Freeman decision on transfers. We need to trust him. It has zero to do with trust. Zero.
Yeah, I mean, it's only so much you can do, and workout
Dude,
is so much
I,
space.
I trust my daughter My daughter is in Seattle, kicking it with friends. Been there all week. I have total faith in my daughter. But because I have family in Seattle, I told her, make sure you don't go to this area, and this area.
In Seattle?
Yeah. Every city has a place. Every major city. Has nothing to do with whether or not I trust her. That's my responsibility. It's not Look, Sam Hartman, we trusted that. It didn't work. There are other transfers. We trusted. It didn't work. Has zero to do with trust. Either we think the player they're getting in is going to be good, or we're not sold. Has zero to do with trust in Marcus Freeman. Zero. I trust my daughter. If she brings around a young man and I get a vibe, I'm going to tell her. I don't like dude. Has nothing to do with whether or not I trust her. I don't like him. And once, dude, to say, oh, Rod Hurd, we don't like his film, or we don't like what we saw, or we don't want another Northwestern kid, has nothing to do with trust. The dude isn't impressive on film.
Yeah, I mean,
Heck, we trust coaches and recruiting and
yeah, we gonna
everything.
have to trust coaching on that end if that's the case.
And sometimes, man, they get it wrong.
Most of the time, they get it wrong.
Heck, I'm trusting Ryan Poles to get it right. I'm trusting him to get it right. But the truth of the matter is, he could get it wrong. Brandon Joseph, for our own personal reasons, we laugh about the move, but Brandon Joseph wasn't who everybody trusted he was going to be at the safety position. And it goes back to what we said, Left, like, dude, coach. I don't care. Michigan, I think, hasn't had a top 10 recruiting class. I don't know if they were top 10 in 24, but I know in 23 they were outside the top 10. I think the 21 class was outside the top 10. Alabama and Georgia are always in the top 3 the majority of the time. But the one thing that sticks out is that Georgia and Alabama are not afraid to coach and develop, man. They will coach and develop. They lose kids to the portal, looking for playing time. They get 1 or 2 guys in. But they coach and develop. You cannot be a winning program if you're not. Dude, you got Ben Minich and Adar Schuler. Coach. 2 sophomores. Coach. Like, I was literally texting Malik last night, just literally upset when I see Brandon Hillman and Jair Sugar Hill, kid right down the road in Kankakee, that Notre Dame just, I don't know. They were on them, and then they just dropped. The Brandon Hillman thing, we understand, was because of him not meeting the requirements that Notre Dame asked him to meet. Okay? But 2 safeties that wanted to come to Notre Dame, and they're at Michigan for like different reasons. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Now you're getting safeties in the 24 class, 25 class, the safety position is, fantastic. Fantastic. Chris O'Leary's done an incredible job. I think the way DJ Brown played this year, which was much better than he's ever played. Much better. Chris O'Leary, it's fair to say that Chris O'Leary is a much better coach based upon what we've seen, then he might be a recruiter. Whether that's fair or unfair, we just have to go by the evidence, right? He takes Xavier Watts from the offense side of the ball, coaches and develops him into a Nagurski winner. That's pretty good coaching. DJ Brown, who we thought, man, DJ Brown was very solid this year at the safety position. Ramon Henderson just never could get it. I can't hear you, Left. You got your mic on. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna come back in. It's just one of those things, man, with that safety position. And once again, the fan brought up some really great points, but there have been some misses in recruiting where you see young players that Notre Dame had the lead on in their recruitment, or they were very interested in Notre Dame, and the next thing you know, it could have been grades, without really digging into it. With Brandon Hillman, it could have been grades. With Jair Hill, it could have been grades. Rod Moore, somebody brought up in the chat. These are guys that Notre Dame were very much involved in, and at some point early on had the lead for whatever reason. Bronte Johnson is really the only impact player, but I think Bronte Johnson is going to take some development physically. Now, can he be a kid that can come in, be a ball hawk, because that's what he is, and that's what he has the ability to do in situations and make an impact? Yeah, he could step in if he shows that he just has this innate ability to be a playmaker like Kyle Hamilton. By all means, get him on the field in passing situations. Get him on the field. Coach him up. But that's what I want to see, right? Coach, man. Coach. The narrative about Notre Dame football has always been, Notre Dame would much rather play veterans than the more talented young players. Notre Dame is all about, this system of playing the experienced guys and playing your juniors and playing your seniors and letting the freshmen and sophomores sit. I don't have a problem with that in context, because I believe Alabama does that in a sense. You go to Alabama defensively, you're going to have to wait your turn, especially in the front seven at linebacker and defensive line. More than likely, you'll be a five-star kid on that defensive line. You're going to wait your turn, right? We really don't see defensive linemen from Alabama pop maybe until like their junior year. Dallas Turner flashed in his freshman year, towards the end of his freshman year, but the young man really popped in his junior season. And that's coaching and development, right? But that's from the context of, we're loaded talent-wise. We don't need you really this year. So we're going to coach you and develop you, so then when it's your time, you're going to make an impact, not just flash. I don't know if the Notre Dame program is to that point, to where from a recruiting standpoint, they have that type of depth as Alabama to be able to say that. But there's a similar feeling, because the one position at Alabama that's very similar to Notre Dame, that they play young players early, and they have another one coming in Jalen Mbakwe. And we watched in the Under Armour game. He's going to play early at Alabama. Kool-Aid McKinstry played early. You can go down the list of all the big-time defensive backs that came in at Alabama. Caleb Downs played early. If you play defensive back at Alabama, and that's because Nick Saban, that's his specialty. That's what he coached before he got to be a defensive coordinator. That's his strength. Mike Mickens, he played Notre Dame. They play defensive backs early. We haven't seen that so much at the safety position. We haven't seen that so much at the safety position. So that's something that bears watching. That's something that bears watching. Left will be back in a minute. Lucky Lefty podcast. Uh, we basically used the Cat Williams situation and our leftovers to talk about another question in the off season from one of our fans, which is the safety position. And it's frustrating from a recruiting standpoint because there should have been much more depth at the safety position in your sophomore class and your junior class. But it is what it is. Rod Hurd, safety from Northwestern, is coming in for a visit. And the film, honestly, this is me. I trust Marcus Freeman, but the film is, I don't know. I don't know. And I think that's in fairness to, especially when people have questions like, you could say, let's just extend the list, right? Let's just say number 6 is safety, brought to us by LL Nation. And number 7 could very easily be the young players on the defensive line. Like you have Riley Mills, you have Howard Cross Jr., but who else? Who else? Yeah, who else? Who's going to pop? Is Tyson Ford going to pop? Right. And this goes to what we talked about with Alabama, because at Alabama, I think the fan base, and I can only speak from as being an outsider, but it looks to me that Alabama fans don't really worry if a Keon Keeley doesn't play as a freshman because they're used to what has been set in place. David Jones, I've given up on Patello. Personally, I just think he's a player that is who he is. He'll have a really good game, and then he's gonna come back down to earth. That's just me. And what he did in the Sun Bowl was against second string offensive line, right? But you play who you play. So I'm not trying to shade it, but the days of me being like excited about the upside of Jordan Botelho, I've decided to pull the string and get off the train.
Pull the strings back on Jordan Patello or pull them.
No, you pull the string to alert the conductor to the fact that you want to get off at the next stop, and that's what I've done. I pull the string like, hey, yeah, I'm off this upside train. You're gonna have to now. You're gonna have to show me. Now you're gonna have to
Yeah,
show me.
because he's at the end of the wait and see period. It's got to be now or never. I think he made a decent impact, not the impact that was expected, but we knew it was going to be a community effort on defense, especially that front seven. But I do like that he's a good piece, just like Riley Mills is a good piece to a defense. These are the pieces that make it work. So could we do it without Jordan? Uh, is he a replaceable factor? Yeah, that's what you do recruiting for. But he's definitely a piece that makes it go. And that's when everything's working right, that's exactly why he became what he became this season. A good player
Yeah,
that had impact because of the structure he was in. He
yeah,
wasn't a standalone talent like an Aiden Hutchinson or something, but
yeah.
he made plays in doing his job essentially.
And it's not to say that Jordan Botelho can't be a good player. I'm just off that, oh, he's going to be a 10, 12 sack
Yeah, he's not gonna
player.
be that getting
I'm
double
off
teamed
that.
every.
Yeah, I'm off
Yeah.
that train. That's all.
Mhm.
I'm off that train because that was the expectation. Like, oh man, he could be a double digit sack guy off the
A
edge.
good Isaiah Fauski replacement, or at least you have the opening to step into that position.
Yeah, yeah, and that is, when you got disconnected. But I was talking about perception with young players, right? And I said the similarity, and this might be through. It's probably, and maybe you can explain this. I wish we had one of your guys that played on to further explain it or played the position. But it seems across the board like the easiest thing to do is to get young defensive backs in. Like for some reason, if the young defensive, if he's good, yo, go play.
Well, a lot of
right?
it is a tackling thing. You put a young guy on the outside and exterior of where all the conflict is. It's like those archers that are in the war. They shooting from way back. It's
Hmm.
gonna take a minute before the battle hits them,
Yeah.
which is exactly why it's easier to put a corner back there and let him develop a little faster because he's maybe active 30% of the game where he's involved in making a pass breakup or being in a crucial tackle or the play coming his way. Most of the time he's getting some good cardio in and doing his job if he's doing it well. So for a guy like a Jalen Sneed, however, or a Prince Collie, where you're in the middle and you got to communicate and you got to, a lot of things and actions are happening on top of you
Hmm.
got to physically shed blocks of older guys and tackling space and the whole nine and do it consistently because you can't hide in that middle. I think that's where uh, it takes some time to grow a little longer.
Yeah.
But if you're in a good rotation, how Georgia's able to put their young killer linebackers in there that are talented, because they're amongst other talented guys that are figuring it out. And you have the D line to support it. I mean, you got a good front four. You can do a lot in terms of working guys in there. So for us, that's just where we have to get to. I think it's a good point for our linebackers that are young right now because there's an open playing field. There's nothing Marcus Freeman can tell you about going into this 12 team playoffs as if he's been there before. So the experience is going to be new for everybody, which is a good starting point for first year starter full time to get their feet wet and see what the journey really is. Because the year after, I'm expecting is to see that impact of guys being uh, experienced enough to take on that challenge of going the distance.
And it's amazing, Left, when you talk about that. Let me see. Yeah, David Lowe, man, think it's happening. He says first year in about 20, neither team in the title game will have elite recruiting classes. And that goes to what we talked about on yesterday's show, Left, which is, this is a good sign. The expansion, this expansion in multiple ways really helps the Notre Dame program and what Marcus Freeman is trying to build because it shows that you don't have to be the best team to win a championship, right?
No, yeah, not in this playoff system. Like you
And
just
you
got
don't
to
have to
be
have
there.
a Bama, Georgia recruiting class every year
Nope,
to get to
don't
the
have to have
champion.
that
You don't.
either. You
No,
can really
have
get away with just having a really good team that catches fire and plays the right slate of teams leading up to the championship. And you can build a narrative and a story and a motivation out of that. You can
hmm
have random teams like your Utahs get a good run if they get slated the right way. They catch a home game here or there. So I think that it definitely evens the playing field for a lot of things: recruiting, transfer portal, guys sitting out, teams being more open to not having to be perfect, coaches actually being able to qualify to stay longer than just being a Russian roulette sort of thing or a revolving door because schools are going to see the value of keeping a Cristobal or a Dan Lanning or a Marcus Freeman at the school because you just got to be in the top 12. That's it.
mm
And those top 12, now it's okay, who's the best of these 12? And you'll start to shake out a coaching tier. Now Saban's graded on a different scale. Now Saban doesn't have to out recruit you to be the best team going into the championship. Now Saban's got to be a legendary coach at winning playoff games, maybe home and away.
Yeah.
Now you can grow that legacy if you Saban to where okay, you a bad man.
Yeah.
You took a team that goes through the ringer, was in some challenging games. You lost three of your best players before the championship game and you overcame. That's a coaching accomplishment. Going through a gauntlet, so to speak, thing. And I think You'll get new names. The Kalen DeBoers. Kirby Smart jumped on the scene, but the previous way of winning was just stacking up preseason. Now it almost doesn't matter. Now it's about, can you maintain health and depth and the right pieces and good coaching for a whole season and then do it in the playoffs. Because that's when I think the grading starts, which is good because now
That's
I
why
don't mind getting those.
your reference to Shaka Smart yesterday was spot on. And all the other
Exactly.
mid-major coaches that get big-time jobs, not because of their record in a MAC regular
Playoff
season,
performance.
but because of the big wins they have in the tournament.
A guy like Coach Martin said it perfectly. He said this is almost a gift and a curse to be at Miami for this long. Because of my in-conference record, I'm amazing. But every year we got to play these Bamas, these top teams, the first 4 games, and my out-of-conference record is trash. So I'm stuck here. But Miami was a 12-1 team, won the MAC this year. If they was the 12th or 11th team in the playoffs this year, and they pull off a victory against a 1 seed or a 4 seed or whatever they have you. Now, how does that look for Coach Martin? Now they're like, okay, we can open the gate up for you to get in one of these schools.
Yeah.
But it's impossible for a team to prove that when going undefeated like a Coastal Carolina and get a toilet bowl type of bowl game. Who cares if y'all win or lose? It doesn't prove nothing. UCF doesn't prove nothing. Undefeated, you still don't get the respect you deserve. Now it's even. So it's exciting to see that. I think this is a proper structure to elevate the or balance the scales of how this transfer NIL stuff works. I think even companies can get a gauge of an investment on these NIL deals, where you give a potential Jaden Daniels $1 million before preseason and banking on him to go 3 rounds deep. Banking on Nico Imavalida that $8 million to get you to the championship. Because if not, now, okay, I can quantify it. Okay, I'm paying for playoff wins. That's what the game turns to. How do I build a team and what do I need to buy to get playoff wins? Regular season is position. Regular season is the Hunger Games arena where they testing out and testing out different skills before they get into the arena.
Right.
They should, like Katniss everything shooting the bow and arrow. He didn't even know she could shoot the arrow. You don't know what your depth is with those young kids, but I don't mind playing them.
Yeah.
I don't mind getting them 4 games in throughout the regular season because nothing to lose. The only thing you can do in the regular season now is gain experience for your team. Coach through situations.
Like you said, coaching is at premium now. It's going to be at a premium now, more than it's ever been with this playoff expansion. More than it's ever been.
Because now schools are not going to be satisfied.
That's another thing I will give Michigan credit for. And you can tap into this, especially with the transfers at Notre Dame. We know the limitations. We know Michigan doesn't have the same limitations as Notre Dame does. But Michigan literally went and got 2 players. The Hinton kid, who was a starting tackle for Stanford. Starting tackle, 5-star. Huge upside. They brought him to Michigan, and he was on the bench. He supplemented what they had. Josiah Stewart, big-time transfer, Coastal Carolina, made a big-time play on that last play for Michigan where he pushed Latham back into Milrow. Just pushed him back into the quarterback. He didn't start. He supplemented what they had. So Michigan is using the transfer portal to supplement what they had. Their starters are guys that they recruited.
Exactly.
See, I don't have a problem with transfers, man. But really, the transfer portal should be about, unless you're going to get a top flight quarterback, all right? Should be about, I'm going to get this guy to supplement or to come in and help what we already had. When you're trying to go in the portal and find a number one or a dude, that's you know
where
what I'm
you
saying?
go wrong.
Keon Coleman, a perfect example. Because I know people be like, well, Florida State got Keon Coleman. Yeah, but they already had Johnny Wilson. Johnny Wilson was already a dude. So now they became a lethal combination. Now, Jared Verse ended up coming in and being a dude for them. Braden Fisk ended up coming in and supplementing what they already had on their defensive line with Patrick Payton, Jared Verse. So the portal is not the problem. I have no problem going to the portal. None at all. No problem improving the talent and depth on your roster. But as a big time program, which goes to what David Jones pointed out, you know, Michigan's done an incredible job along with Washington of recruiting, developing, and then what they get in the portal, allowing that to supplement what they have along with their coaching. Which, man, coaching is going to be, that's the best thing about this championship game. The X's and O's. The dominant defense against the dominant offense. That's the matchup. Styles make fights, right? I think this is going to be a really good fight on Monday
Because it's
night
week to week.
because of the
It's week
styles.
to week.
Yeah.
How do you build your staff to be ready for something like that? Because this is not you're no longer a preseason team. The
Yeah.
worst part and where college football was going wrong is that we knew Georgia was going to win before the season even started. And it was like the last 5 championships, we knew Alabama was going to be in that final before the season started. It was just who's going to beat them. Now you can honestly say there's no way to determine who can make that gauntlet pre-season. Now
Yeah.
Vegas is licking their chops. Now fans can feel more excited because you truly don't know.
Yeah.
You'd be a fool to say Saban's going to run the table in these playoffs because he can't control what happens on a game-to-game basis. He can't control that.
Yeah.
And playoffs is a different energy. It's just the word. It's just saying it is a different energy.
Yeah. It is. Look, bro. It is. Chat is like, yo, portal should be like NFL free agency. It pretty much is at this point.
That's what I'm saying. They should be able to be
It
transferred
pretty much
after the
is, but
regular season.
there's a difference. There is a difference between getting a transfer guy in because you don't have anybody else, or getting a Josiah Stewart didn't start and made one of the most impactful plays in the Rose Bowl, dude. And in my opinion, that's a fabulous way to approach the portal, dude. Like, dude, our program is about coaching and development. It doesn't matter if Josiah Stewart comes. We still gonna have a dominant defense. But if he comes, we're gonna have a much better and deeper defense. But it doesn't. He's not about to make us a dominant defense. We're gonna be that because we can recruit, evaluate, recruit, coach, and develop. That's why we're gonna be a dominant defense. That's it. Sharon Moore does an incredible job as the offensive line coach and OC of evaluating, recruiting, coaching, and developing, man. You had players that hadn't made impact plays all year, making impact plays in the Rose Bowl as freshmen. That's coaching and development, man. That's coaching and development. That's at a premium more than ever. That's why we bring up the safety position, or we bring in who's going to be the guys to step up outside of Howard Cross and Riley Mills. Look, hey, Al Washington, yo, what's up? What's up this year? You got a guy in Sean Sevillano Jr. that says, yo, I'm coming in to take a spot as a freshman. Okay. At some point, hey, Big Bear needs to be on the field at
At
some
some
point.
point.
At some point, he needs to be on the field making an impact. He needs to be on the field making an impact. You get RJ Oben in, that's fine. We're not bringing RJ Oben in to make us a good. We're already Notre Dame's already a top 10 defense. We're not bringing RJ Oben in to make us a top 10 defense. Give us depth and make us even better, even stronger in numbers. That's what the transfer portal should be. Add to us. We're already this. Now add to us. That's not the case on the offensive side of the ball. They're still searching
That's
to get to that place.
that's like you keep trying to replace a full meal with a protein shake. No, a
Come on,
protein
left.
shake is a
That's what they tell us.
supplement.
No, that's a
A
meal
protein
replacement.
shake is a supplement.
That's a
It
meal replacement, left.
supports.
That's a
You
meal
can't
replacement.
supplement a foundation. You take the protein shake to supplement a meal. That's how you get it to stick. If you living off protein shakes, what happens?
You living
The
on protein
opposite.
shakes, you are not getting the nutrients that you need.
Exactly. You go the opposite direction
Yeah.
because it has nothing to stick to. You
Nothing
need to
sticking to
stick
your
to that chicken,
nothing to the
rice, and
ribs.
broccoli.
Oh, by the way, I made a nice chicken bake last night, left.
That's right.
Air fried my tenders, cut them up. You know what I'm saying? Had the white rice, steamed it, cream of mushroom soup,
That's right.
added it in there, chopped up some onions. I added some apples to it too. Diced up some
See
apples.
you crossing the line for me right
No, no,
there.
no, 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 no. You got to understand. You have to see when you have the onion, you have to have something that balances the onion, dude.
Okay.
When I was going through treatment, I did a lot of watching the cooking shows, bro. So I started. Okay, I have to start balancing out because I'm a heavy onion dude, left. I'm a
Okay.
dude, whether it's
Onion and
hamburgers, hot
garlic or
dog.
just onion?
Yes, yes. Onion, garlic, Italian food, like heavy. But you have to have something in there sometimes to kind of balance it out. And so
Mm,
they said one of the simplest things that can do that because apples and bananas have a very dominant flavor. You talk about smoothies, put an apple or a banana in a smoothie, and that's going to dominate that smoothie
that's right.
and flavor. They're dominant. So they're good balances for those things. You know,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. I
good
see. I
balances
see.
for those things. But it turned out well. But next time I didn't put the breadcrumbs on top to give the crunchy top to it because I put it on the stove to start, and then I put it in the oven for like 40 minutes.
Okay. You
It
done got
turned
that
out
bread
nice.
fried and dyed and laid to the side.
Yeah, it turned out nice. But next time I got to give it the breadcrumb topping to get the crunch to go with it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And then
So
you
that goes
top
with
it
what
off
you.
with a chocolate banana peanut butter smoothie as the
Mm,
protein shake. Now
mm,
you adding the right weight.
mm,
That's when you add the Chris Mitchell on top because you done
yes.
built out that Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price offense.
Mm,
That's
yeah.
when you add a Bo Collins when you got JT and Deion Coley running that 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
And then you throw a bow to the boundary. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But you depending on protein shakes to get through the meal, you're gonna be hungry.
That's tough. That's tough. From someone that did it this summer, bro. Right? You know, had to deal with sore throat, a little bit of sore throat, really, couldn't swallow like I'm normally capable of swallowing. I had to do a lot of, protein shakes, had to do a lot of the insures to make sure that I kept the protein up a little bit because I couldn't get it through other ways. That's a difficult way to live, bro. And in terms of college football, eventually, even on the offensive side, the offense is going to have to get to a point where the portal is not, man, we got to go find the dude. It's, oh, we're going to get this kid because we're already a really good offense, and he's going to supplement what we already are. Um, can Notre Dame make that jump offensively this year as we get ready to talk about the running game in the second half of the show left? Under Mike Denbrock, with a transfer quarterback, can Notre Dame establish themselves? Because establishing themselves against the lesser teams, they've done that, which has a step because at the end of the Brian Kelly era, they were struggling against lesser teams offensively
Yeah,
in
it was
certain games.
definitely a struggle.
At least now, they at least now the offense will bang the lesser teams offensively. Now, the next step is to prove it against the top-notch competition consistently. That's the next. That's the next step.
That's right. That's right. We want to be in the contention of actually being a favorite in some of these
Mm.
games. We're always underdog that nobody is giving or taking serious because of um, past obvious missteps that we
Mm-hmm.
just look like the team that is not doing everything it takes to win and looking like the little brother in a lot of these matchups.
That is something that I'm looking forward to. As we start to break down or get ready to break down the rushing offense of Mike Denbrock and what he brings. But I'm looking forward to that, Left. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully that Notre Dame offense can become. But the proof of that, the schedule's so soft this year, Left. I don't know if we'll get that proof until November when you get Florida State USC and then a home date in the playoffs, hopefully. That's when you'll get to prove. Because I feel wholeheartedly they're going to do. They have that Louisville game. That game, getting Louisville back at home next year. Oh yeah, that's. I think Notre Dame's gonna run them out of the building, flat out.
And we should.
Notre Dame is going to. I think that's going to be that early revenge game, and Notre Dame is going to run them out of the building. That's one of my early predictions. November is where you okay. This is the proving ground for the offense.
Yeah,
But
November is where you start implementing that strategy of how you're gonna win in late the season.
yeah,
Identity should be formed by then. You should know your go-tos and what makes the team go.
yeah, yeah. Lucky Lefty podcast, man.
That time in the season.
Also, something else said in leftovers before we transition. Someone asked the question of, and you can explain this, Left, because we talked about Notre Dame learning a new offense, right? Moving from Tommy to Mike Denbrock. And they were like, well, Mike Denbrock still runs the BK offense, so it's the same offense. And I'm like, dude, if you think Mike Denbrock, who left Brian Kelly, went to Cincinnati, had a totally different offense, before he went back to LSU and linked back up with Brian Kelly. If you think Mike Denbrock is the same offensive coordinator that he was a decade ago at Notre Dame, then I don't know what else to say. If you watch LSU football and you think what he did there resembled anything we saw or have seen at Notre Dame over the last 4 or 5 years, I don't. I just don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. It's a new day. He's going to bring it in. I think the offense under Mike Denbrock will probably shift and change on an annual basis based upon the talent. And that's something different as well. I think Tommy just ran his offense no matter who he had. He wasn't about to change his offense for Tyler Buckner. He wasn't
Yeah,
about to
Tommy
change.
became more of a system guy where he just wanted to plug people into what he liked to do.
Mm-hmm.
And at Notre Dame, you can get away with it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I do
Yeah.
think that Denbrock has learned and has grown as an offensive coordinator and learned kind of his style of things through the years and has proved that when he's gotten the right talent, he can make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We come back. We're going to talk Notre Dame run game. At the end of yesterday's show, Left said something that really like made the light bulb go off. That getting Mike Denbrock might be perfect timing in the transition from Aldrich Estime to Jajarian Price and Jeremiah Love. And the other running backs that you have coming in, Aeneas Williams and Keedron Young, who's putting on an absolute show in practices down at the All-American Bowl. Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know we spin it different. Right back at you, Lucky Lefty podcast. Onora Boys, SD2 Mics, MALIK ZAIRE, the original Lucky Lefty. We're brought to you by ONORA Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. Make sure you drink responsibly. We're on CFB Nation, presented by It's the Tea. Go get you some of that today. All right?
Yeah, go get you some. It's a Friday, you know.
Can I tell you something, Left? You
Yep.
can put, I'm telling you now, you can punch my ticket and put me on the petty train. Put me on the petty train, okay? Because I don't have to be petty, but I'm gonna be petty. These are for the people that were like, yo, I trust, the evaluation of our staff, and if they didn't think, such and so player was all that, then I trust their evaluation. I talked to my boy Ryan Roberts last night, and I talked to a couple of coaches from Chicago that are down at the All-American game in San Antonio.
That's right. Because CJ's down there, right?
The whole KBA, CJ, Bryce Young, Keedron Young. Yeah, we got 4 players down there. And I also talked to somebody that works for one of the major scouting services via text. I said, who's dominating in practices? That was my question to all 4. All 4
That's
people.
Right. It was open.
Who's dominating in practice? Like, who is that NFL guy right now? You know who the first person was out of everyone's mouth left from both squads?
Who?
Justin Scott.
Of course it was.
But the whole crew that's angry at how the recruiting went left. Oh, we don't need him. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yo, who everybody, even the NFL scouts, are buzzing about from practices? Justin Scott. They can't block him. There's video of offensive linemen. I retweeted one video of offensive linemen tossing defensive dudes, 5 stars, 4 stars, tossing defensive linemen, tossing linebackers across the board. First name out of everybody's mouth. Ain't nobody down here that can touch him. Nobody. Period. He's just a dude, man. Just a dude. And that's the thing. Notre Dame, because of who they are, would never get those dudes in mass. But you just have to get one, maybe one on each level. They got a bunch of dudes at running back. So that's we can transition to. Dylan McCullough. I know Dylan McCullough is currently running 3rd in the voting amongst the fans, Notre Dame fans and LL Nation, for Coach of the Year. But that's a strong 3rd, bro. Like, he's running behind Al Golden and Mike Mickens, but that's a strong 3rd place that he's running in left. That's a strong 3rd place. Because what he's done in coaching, developing, evaluating, coming in immediately, having dudes committed, saying, no, nope, that's not, I want to raise the bar. Let's go get this kid out of St. Louis named Jeremiah Love. And then the development you saw from Aldrick Estime, who became a much better running back when Dylan McCullough got here as the coach. That's what you want to see. But you said something that was very important yesterday, Left, and that is the run game with Mike Denbrock is much more of a zone scheme. Explain the importance of that and why that might be a much better fit and a great point of transition from Aldrich Estime to the current talent in the running back room and what Notre Dame is able to do. Because the efficiency of the Mike Denbrock offense, we explained it yesterday. In the passing game, they had 3 wide receivers get 3,500 yards. 3 wide receivers tally 3,500 yards and almost 40 touchdowns, throwing the ball 51% of the time. Crazy efficiency. All of them averaged over 17 yards per catch. Neighbors, Thomas, Lacey. But the running game, in the midst of that, 48% of the time they ran the ball. Notre Dame was right around 50. They dropped from 56 to 53 this season. So they dropped it 3% under Jared Parker. With all of that being said, they were number 1 in the nation at yards per rush left as an offense. Let me say that again. Running the ball 48% of the time, Mike Denbrock's offense was number 1 in the nation, number 1 in college football at yards per rush. Once again, efficiency in the passing game, efficiency, big plays in the run game. And that's something that I think should be music to the ears of Notre Dame fans everywhere. You with me, Left? Did I lose you?
No, I'm with you. That was perfectly said. I think to have the run efficiency we've been looking for, we thought we was gonna get it with Sam Hartman because it made sense. But now we know that we have a guy that actually has done it, and the pieces that can make it happen, especially ones that we're excited about going into next year.
Yeah. Roosevelt Carney brings up a point. My only pushback to that, blaming it on the talent, is that Mike Denbrock broke offensive records at Cincinnati with Tyler Scott, the local kid out of Illinois. Like, dude, he 3rd and 4th round talent, and he took the Cincinnati offense to heights in the same efficiency. And turned Ritter into what? Ritter got drafted in the 2nd round. Like, so talent. Mike Denbrock's a great coach. Talent, dude. He's going to look even better with talented players, but he's a darn good coach when he doesn't have 1st round talent.
That's right. That's right.
So I think the running back room. This is the thing. If he had 6.2 yards per carry, and he did not have, I think it was Logan Diggs, Ford, and I forget the other youngster, 21 at LSU. None of those guys were breakaway big play running backs.
None of them.
And their offensive line wasn't as good as talent-wise as Notre Dame's offensive line, in my
Very
opinion.
average.
I
They
like
have
their
2
left
first round
tackle.
tackles.
Yes, their left tackle. Now, their left tackle, who started as a true freshman, he's going to be pretty good. Next year, if he comes out after 3 years, he'll probably go 1st, 2nd round. I like that kid. But everybody else is, you watch their offensive line play,
Not
it's
impressed.
no, not that impressive. And once again, the run game was highly efficient. 6.2 yards without the talent. So if he comes to Notre Dame, that should be easily transferable. The
Right.
efficiency. Talent, you can be an efficient. Man, there are MAC teams that have efficient offenses. Liberty is an efficient offense without uber talented players. Efficient. What makes an offense efficient, Left? Let's start right there. What truly makes an offense efficient?
I think when you're calling plays that you are thinking to get 5 or 6 yards and they actually get 5 or 6 yards,
Mm,
you're not getting the minimum on plays. And I think the efficiency comes in regards to a drive
mhm.
and how it pertains to scoring drives. So if you're efficiently scoring and having 5 or 6 play drives and it's well balanced, or you hit a big play and then you do a couple runs and get another big play. It's just the attempts and the amount of plays it takes to score. I
Hmm.
think adds up into the efficiency, just like KD. KD can take 20 shot attempts and have 40 points because he's 18 or 20 or whatever may have you, right? So
Yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, we have the ability to be efficient with Mike Denbrock because he knows how to balance explosive plays with the plays that you need to get to set up to the next explosive play. We're
Yeah.
not just out there calling plays. We're setting up plays that may get 5 or 6 or 3 or 4 yards, but 3 or 4 plays later guarantee that we're looking to go down the field, or we're looking to hit an explosive screen or a trick play or a double pass or some type of run. So when teams are on their heels thinking about the next explosive play, there we
Hmm.
go on second down, 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7, running a up the middle basic run play and getting 20 yards.
Yeah.
Because teams are so afraid of the climax to your setup plays, they forget about the setup plays are still a plays too. That's where you're getting the run, because when you got teams afraid of your explosives, when they know that at any point you can hit a 25, 30 plus yard play, the run becomes less attentive because you're like, okay, we can give up 5, we just can't give up 55. And that's where your running backs are running against light boxes and, sneaking past the second level because they're so worried about the ball being put on the outside of the field. So the threat of scoring is why efficiency for Denbrock has been so apparent. And I think we'll be able to use that with the players that we have to build a stronger base offensively, to make us feel better about watching these games that at the end it was 56, but first, second quarter, we only had 3 points.
Yeah.
We only had three.
Yeah.
I stopped watching after the second because I thought it was going to be 21-14, and then turn at the end of the fourth, it's 56-14. You're like, how the hell? So.
It is. It's funny because uh, our boy Donnie Brasco, who brought up a solid point. I can't remember when he left for Cincinnati because he was assistant head coach, wide receivers, and I don't know what happened in that season. Was that after the 16 season? That whole debacle? I think he left when you left, right? Yes. Yes. When you left, Coach Denbrock left for Cincinnati. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was some dissent around the way the 2016 season went. I think Coach Kelly, towards the end of the 2016 season, took some things away or kind of took over the reins of the play calling. And as we reported last week, Mike Denbrock in the 16 season was definitely pro ZAIRE coming out of fall camp. To
I mean, I hope
whereas,
so. I mean, it was a lot of tumultuous conversations going on the year we didn't win, and a lot of expectations that weren't met. A lot of things that went opposite of what was being told, and
mhm,
when you don't have the team chemistry, you can't keep lying. You know what I mean? So the lies are the reason why you win 4 games in the season.
yeah, it is. This is where, it gets tricky and murky, right? The conversation players, it's like, dude, stop. I've been saying this for over a year. Great players make coaches better. They don't make great coaches, but they make great coaches better. And they make good coaches really good. Like the concept of, oh, yeah, you look good when you had great players. Duh, nope. Dude, when Michael Jordan left and Horace Grant left, how did Coach Chief Triangle look in Chicago as a coach?
Not very good.
Was he a genius?
He was a genius when he had them players for sure.
Was he a genius when he had Myers as the starting shooting guard instead of Michael Jordan? Was he a genius that year?
Didn't
When Michael
look like
Jordan
a genius.
came back, he didn't look like a genius, did he? He was out of the playoffs. They were the 10th seed in the East when Michael Jordan returned from baseball and got them back to the playoffs. He didn't. Phil Jackson didn't look that good as a coach, did he? No.
Look like Bill Belichick now.
Rudy Tomjanovich without Hakeem, Kenny Smith, Vernon Maxwell. When he took the job with the Lakers and had a trash roster, how did he look? Hall of Fame coach. How did he look?
Belichick, worst
Bill Belichick.
record in the league. Damn.
Now, wait a minute. Bill Belichick is perfect, dude. Do you realize the Patriots still have a top 7 defense?
Oh, well, it's about wins and losses, you know.
But no, this is my point. This is my point. He's always going to be able to coach defense, bro. That's his thing. I don't care if he has the worst quarterback, worst offense in the world, his defense is going to be solid because that's his expertise. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a Tom Brady to pretty much take over the offensive side of the ball because we see that the offensive coordinators that Tom Brady had were boobs because their record without Tom Brady as coordinators aren't good. Aren't good. So, yes, players always make coaches look better. All the time, Left. That's not rocket science. You get good players, you're going to look that good as a coach. But that doesn't mean you can discredit the coach. I'm not about to sit here and say Phil Jackson wasn't a great coach because when Michael Jordan left to play baseball, you see that his coaching really didn't matter. It was the players. It was Michael Jordan. Same thing with Shaq and Kobe out in LA. You can say that about every great coach. That once they lose the talent, the same level of talent, all of a sudden they don't win at the same clip. So what are we really talking about? He left because of dissent in 16. I don't know. I can't really remember. I do remember, though. I remember this vividly. When Cincinnati was coming to play Notre Dame in South Bend, there were several outlets that wrote stories about their concern about Mike Denbrock and the job he has done with Desmond Ritter and the Cincinnati offense. And you know what we saw? This is what really good offensive coordinators do. Really good offensive coordinators are not scared to go at the strength of your defense. Right? Right, Left? You know what we saw in that Cincinnati game? You know what we saw in that Cincinnati game, Left?
That went straight at us.
We saw Kyle Hamilton get burnt twice in the pass game. Once for a deep touchdown. Nobody else did that. Nobody else did that. So, as much as you want to give credit to players, don't just dismiss coaches like, oh, they ain't got nothing to do with that. Because Lord knows the Notre Dame fan base didn't do that for Jared Parker. Notre Dame fan base didn't let up on Jared Parker this year because of the players and the injuries. They used that excuse for Sam Hartman, but they didn't give that love to Jared Parker. They would say, well, man, Sam Hartman, he didn't have any wide receivers. But, man, you didn't say that about Jared Parker. You didn't give that excuse for Jared Parker. So it's a lot of things that can exist and be true. Michigan's in the championship game. Do they have dudes at wide receiver Left? Do they have first-round dudes at wide receiver? Do they have a first-round dude in the backfield? No. No. but they have an identity and a coaching staff that coaches to their identity and their talent. That's all you have to do. Mike Denbrock coached to his talent this year. That's what a coach is supposed to do. And if you want to discredit him for having talented wide receivers, the brilliance in Mike Denbrock is the fact that he had talented receivers and only threw the ball 51% of the time. Because most offensive coordinators would have had those 3 wide receivers and thrown the ball 55% of the time and had zero balance. Zero balance. So as much as you want to talk about dudes, I'm not about to dismiss Mike Denbrock and who he is. I'm not about to do that. It's disingenuous, and you're being a contrarian to talk about talent and dudes. But then when the talent and dudes aren't there, you still want to pile on an offensive coordinator in another situation. You can't have it both ways.
That's right.
You can't have it both ways. You can't say it's all about having dudes and then say, okay, coaching, man, it's all about having dudes. Because I agree. I don't remember people being really upset when Mike Denbrock left. I do remember there being things broken down because of what happened during the season, what was happening with the SHAUN Kaiser leadership, locker room, all that stuff. It's dissent. I remember all of that stuff. But I vividly remember when Cincinnati walked in here, multiple outlets had stories about their concern in that game with Mike Denbrock and the job he had done at Cincinnati as the offensive coordinator. And he did not have dudes on that offense. Name a dude they had offensively left. A dude. Remember, they got to the college football playoff. Name a dude that he had. And being honest, I thought his game plan against Alabama was far too cautious and bad. But I thought their defensive game plan against Alabama, going against Alabama, you going to a 3-man front against Alabama? You just gonna let them run the ball? I think the entire coaching staff came into that game with a horrible game plan. Horrible. But the dude elevated the offense at Cincinnati and took them to the college football playoff and walked in Notre Dame Stadium and got a win with Desmond Ridder as quarterback. So we're going to discredit this dude because he got fast. Dude, it's fast wide receivers at LSU every year. That's all they do is produce first-round receivers. That's all they do. Jaden Daniels was thought of as trash when he left Arizona State. Trash. Nobody wanted Jaden Daniels in the transfer portal to come to Notre Dame when he hopped in. But we're about to dismiss. We're about to act like Jaden Daniels was a dude at Arizona State. Like everybody thought he was a dude at Arizona State. And then Coach Denbrock has absolutely nothing to do with the development of none of those players.
Listen, his year one.
They just got better by osmosis, left.
His year 1 to year 2
man.
shows you. Come on.
It's amazing.
And when you get a talent with the right coach, you get things like the Heisman. Denbrock doesn't have to be the best coach in America.
No, but don't
But he's good enough to acknowledge when he got dudes and knows how to coach.
Dude, you can.
He's good enough to know when he got the gold in the vault. He's like, oh no, I got it's right here. All I gotta do is not mess it up.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have to Jordan phase on your way through a season. I'm sure that's real hard.
Oh, yeah.
But when Denbrock says you got 2 first-round receivers, a potential top 10 quarterback this year, a decent O-line, and 3 stable running backs, I will look crazy not to do what I did this year. Because they all at my fingertips. I don't have to overcomplicate much. I got 2 first-round receivers, a top 10 QB, a decently good line, and some running backs. Come on. and he's a genius because he knows how to play with good players. And the oxymoron is that some coaches don't know how to coach good players.
Man,
And that's
talk
underrated.
about it.
It's underrated.
Talk
It's
about
when
it.
everybody
Talk
gives
about it.
compliments to coaches that can coach good players. Everybody's like, "Oh, Lincoln Riley, you just it's easy to repeat Heisman's with your quarterbacks because they all really good." Daddy. But there's a bunch of really good quarterbacks that don't get Heisman's, Daddy. Especially
Left,
coaches. Daddy.
left. You just talked into the genius of Phil Jackson. It took Phil Jackson to convince Michael Jordan to play unselfishly. That you're going to have to trust the other guys. No other coach could convince Mike up until that point.
No other
Mike,
coach.
Mike didn't trust anybody. Mike was like, yo, I trust myself. It was Phil Jackson that got him to believe in, yo, this is going to make you better. And it's
Yeah,
going to make
kick it
us
to
better.
Steve Kerr.
Exactly. Kick it to John Paxson. Yes, you're right. That's a great point, Lev. The greatness of the best coaches is they know how to coach great players. And
That's it.
everybody doesn't know how to do that because it's
Denbrock
not
knew
easy.
how to coach Will Fuller.
It's not
Period.
easy. It sounds
Period.
simple. It sounds easy, but
It
it's not
looks
easy.
simple to coach Will Fuller,
Absolutely.
but
That's what
Denbrock
made
made it
Nick
look
Saban is
easy.
great. Nick Saban is great because of that. Kirby Smart is great because of that. You just think, oh, they got 4 and 5 stars. No, they can coach their tails off too.
Mike Mickens can do that.
Heck, man.
So
Man.
so
Nobody
we
thought nobody thought Benjamin Morrison was a dude.
no.
No.
We thought he
Nobody
was
thought
solid.
Benjamin Morrison. Oh, that's a solid kid. He's a 4
Yeah, he's
star.
solid. He'd be a nice attribute.
Exactly. Dude. He's a
Sauce
dude.
Gardner should have told you Mike Mickens can do a little something.
That's evaluation, coaching, and development. Dude. And this is why coaching is going to be at a premium, man.
Premium
At
for
a
the
premium.
playoffs. Premium.
I didn't say we're not sitting up there. Mike Denbrock is not Steve Sarkisian. He's not Steve Sarkisian. He might not even be Kalen DeBoer.
Because talent's not gonna get you through these playoffs. It's just not. It's
He
just
might
not.
not be Kalen DeBoer. But I tell you who he ain't. He ain't Tommy Reese. I can tell you that.
That's right. That's
We
right.
talk about that. I guarantee you his last play call with Jalen Milroe wouldn't have been that play with one option or two options.
Facts.
I guarantee
But
you
he
would have
would have
been
had
different.
somebody run. Kalen DeBoer would have had somebody running in the end zone. Period. If nothing else, a back shoulder fade in the end zone
Bro,
to Romo
look,
Doozy.
man, I just think because I'm not up here with a pom-pom about Mike Denbrock, but he's an upgrade. And we're not about to sit here and act like he's not an upgrade. He's an upgrade.
The man
And
just
out of
coached
the
a Heisman and first round
out of
receivers.
the mouths of his players on this podcast, he's going to build the offense around what he has. We have not seen that in the last 4 to 5 years. We have
Since he's
not.
been there.
We haven't seen that. So that's going to be refreshing to actually see someone identify the talent on the team, identify the playmakers on the team, get the ball to the playmakers in big games and big moments. That within itself and the core, this is what I love about Mike Denbrock. He's literally coached every position on offense left. Go look
That's
at his
right.
resume. His background is offensive line and tight ends.
And tight ends, yeah.
So
And he went to receiver.
He has credibility. See, this is what I'm talking about, Left. Remember last year when you pointed out, yo, I don't like hearing Jared Parker talk about
Community coaching.
Yes. Yes. Remember you said that? And that was at the beginning of the season. You were like, I don't like that. I don't like that. Mike Denbrock is gonna have the final word, dog.
That's right.
This is not, hey y'all, let's come together. And I'm not saying he's not gonna have meetings with
Right.
coaches.
He's gonna he's gonna use his veto power though.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna actually use his veto power. Nah, we ain't rocking with that.
Yo.
He gonna take some suggestions because he
Man.
relies on the ear and the eyes of the assistant coaches. But decision making, A lot of reason why Kelly and him couldn't really,
See eye to
figure
eye
it out.
and had dissent in
Cause
2016 because
Kelly
Denbrock.
he just override things at the worst times. It's like, all right, man,
What?
like damn.
Tell the story, dude. You told me about, and this is probably what had Denbrock upset. Mike Denbrock would have a game plan. Him and LaFleur will have an install, have you guys work on it all week, and Brian Kelly would come in Friday night and do what, Left?
Be like, yeah, we doing it this way. Like, yeah, you should have known that. Like, I mean, it just make awkward. It just make it awkward. Like, or we'll have get the worst where you know it was bad when you get the timeouts, and then you get delayed games after the timeouts. After the TV break, you get on the field and get a timeout. That only happens when you have a play and then everybody's on the same page, and last minute they're like, no, let's do it this way. That overriding stuff in game as an offensive coordinator is really frustrating. And it's almost like it's one thing to be like, okay, I want to run this coming up. Okay, I'll put it on the queue. Now you get your Apple Music and you hit the little button that says play next in the queue. Not play right now, play after the song. Well, we was on Apple Music just switching songs from the intro to the main line to the hook at any point. So you throwing the car flow off. We trying to go 70s and 80s R&B, and you cutting it off putting 2000 rap on in the middle of the song. So we can't get a flow in the car, on this road trip. Now this hour-long road trip for like 3 hours because you switching songs, you switching the vibes. We can't, agree on nothing. Can't even play a damn song.
When you told me that, bro, that Denbrock and LaFleur will have the quarterbacks ready to go into the game, and Thursday night, Friday night, or Friday afternoon, here comes Brian Kelly like, no, we changing everything. Like, what? I see why that cat Mike Denbrock got out of here. Like, I see why he bounced. Like, dude, I'm going to bounce because I respect our relationship. Because they're still friends to this day. That's just, I've had to do that. I've had to walk away from situations like, hey, dude, I love you too much. Like, I love you too much. I don't want this to go to the next level. It's not even worth it. Man, so I see why after that 2016 season, why you bounced and why Denbrock bounced. Right? And then we end up going into the time, Chip Long ended up leaving, having an issue. Even though he's an analyst with BK right now. It is, dude. It's incredible that you have that type of stuff. And Denbrock, in my opinion, at this point with Marcus Freeman, and we've been very adamant about Marcus Freeman needing to have a better understanding of the offensive side of the ball. Well, I think Mike Denbrock is someone that can sit down with him who has been an assistant head coach, along with Al Golden as well. They can fortify him as a head coach, number one. And then number two, Mike Denbrock can explain offensive football to Coach Freeman and open his eyes to say, yo, we can take chances and be efficient. We can take chances, go after the big plays in the run game and the pass game, and still be efficient and not throw the ball 55, 56% of the time and still stick to the run. I can have this run game humming, running the ball 48% of the time, 49% of the time, right? Somebody said,
what you feel really good about is the fact that Denbrock hasn't taken shortcuts. Jared Parker, in effect, took a shortcut. You go from never calling plays, being a guy in the game plan room, not being the main guy, to you just get elevated unsuspectedly. Those are shortcuts. That's like an industry plant. That's your Kevin Hart's.
Are you trying to call Jared Parker an administration plant?
He's an administration. It's got to be. Because out of all the time we took to find it and identify what fits what we trying to do, how do you just automatically think that in-house guy that had no flow or no pull is the best option? Because he gonna do what you want. He gonna keep it ear to the streets for you. He's a CI. Because what else? How else does that make sense in the grand scheme of selecting qualified coaches that fit your plan?
Mm.
And then they told you we're not running what you want to do, Marcus Freeman. We running what we ran last year. When does that happen? Just imagine Bill O'Brien telling Nick Saban on his way out, yeah, but you
Hmm.
still running my offense when I leave. Doesn't happen.
Right. 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 Yeah.
So that's a CI. And, you know, man, Denbrock got history there, so he might be a double agent. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I know he hasn't taken any shortcuts because I've seen him from the beginning.
I'll give you a perfect example. CJ Stroud was a pretty good quarterback his 3 years in college. Wasn't he, Left?
That's right.
He was a pretty good quarterback. Does that change your perception of Ryan Day as a head coach?
No.
You still think he's questionable, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But CJ Stroud made him look real good, didn't he?
CJ Stroud made him look real
Made,
good and
made him
held
look
on
real
to it.
good.
Yeah.
Justin Fields made him look real good, didn't he? Those receivers, those first round receivers made him look real good, didn't he? So is Ryan Day a good coach or isn't he? Is he a good play caller or isn't he? He has a wide receiver that's about to be drafted in the top 3 of the NFL draft. Does he get credit for that? Does he get credit for his development? Or did he just have a dude? This is the fine line we walk, man. This is the fine line we want. And I always say, yo, I give credit to the players, yo. They're the ones that put in the blood, sweat, and tears, right? Like you need coaches, but I'm going to give bulk of the credit to players. But I'm not about to just dismiss coaching, especially now, like you said, going into this expansion Left. Coaching is going to be at a premium now, boy. It's about some cats are about to get paid off these playoffs.
That's it. Cats about to
Yeah.
turn into Joe Flacco like the playoffs. Just play good, coach good if they get in, and then elevate their positioning. And I think it'll show that one, you deserve it.
Mm.
You seeing all these forever rotating of the same coaches, you wonder how. What is qualifying them? Now we'll find out. Now it makes sense if you can bounce around to 6 different schools if you keep getting into the playoffs.
Mm. So as we expand upon that, 48% run, led the nation in yards and okay, talent, right? Offensive line wasn't that great. Maybe one first rounder on the offensive line. Running backs, Notre Dame running back room was more talented. Yet still they led the nation at 6.2. What's the difference between going from, because this is now, maybe you can tap into this and maybe the offensive line coach that he is helped Joe Rudolph, Notre Dame fans. Once again, Mike Denbrock's strength is offensive line play. That's what he coached. Offensive line, tight end. That's his strength if you look at his resume. He's also coached wide receivers. He's coached quarterbacks. He's pretty much, dude, he's coached everything on the offensive side of the ball, which lends to the strength of him being able to use different parts because he's coached all of the different parts. You
Yeah,
go from,
it's just like you become a great CEO once you've worked everything from janitor to HR to office guy to you know the company inside and out.
mm-hmm.
So
Left.
when
So
you
what's the difference in going from Harry who is duo power, to Joe Rudolph, who is pin, pull, use the athleticism of the offensive line, and gap. Now, yesterday you said Mike Denbrock is a zone guy. What is your suspicion on what this offensive line and what this run game is going to look like as far as making it more efficient?
Yeah, I think you'll see the run used in better positions on the field. I don't think we're just calling runs in no man's land just to call a play. I think it'd be directed in parts of the field and the way in which we use it in different uh, position groupings. So I don't think we'll have two tight ends and tell the world, hey, we're about to run the ball. We might run out of 11. We might run out of 10 personnel. We might do some QB things if it's Riley in there out of 10. So I do think that um, being able to be versatile in the run game will help you with your efficiency because you're giving the defense different looks. Like I said, it's all about teams being in threat of the explosive play, so they're going to be comfortable giving up the yards underneath, and that's where the run game comes in.
Um, is this the right time for him to bring a zone concept and mix it possibly with some other gap pin pull things that they've been doing already to kind of elevate the efficiency of the running backs and to take advantage of the talents of the running back room that exists versus, if he had Aldrich Estime, who's more of a power guy? Left you there? Did we lose you? So yeah, I
No,
think
I think that what the inside zone will do is making a good go-to run to help create explosive plays, but also the double teams needed to get the
yeah, but I'm looking forward to if he does implement. Um, in your opinion, is it easier? Is zone blocking much easier? Would that be much easier for a young offensive line, inexperienced offensive line?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a lot of it too, it helps the impact of what Jeremiah Love is able to do. Is inside zone gives you a three-level option. It gives you the front side, it gives you through the double teams, and then it gives you backside because it's meant to bounce back. And that's where Jeremiah Love's versatility is going to come in, is because he's going to have a three-lane option that he can take, which is good for an offensive line to be able to form double teams going one way and let the running back create his own lane off of that. And so these double teams are going to be important for a young O-line to gain the confidence to be
Mm.
able to have zone blocking and picking up second level guys after securing the double team up front.
Man, I actually heard this OG in the game say zone blocking is like running pick and roll in the NBA. Like it's the easiest thing to do. It's the easiest play, and literally just it allows your athletes to be athletes.
Yeah, because you're creating flow, and then with flow, you got guys that have to run. And when you're running, you can overrun a gap, you can run into a block, or you can run behind the play, and that gives a three lane option for a dynamic running back like a Kyron Williams, like a Jeremiah Love, a Jadarian Price. It's not running ISO. We're not
Yeah.
running straight downhill. You're gonna have to make one guy missing a small hole. Well, when you're creating flow with an inside outside zone concept and have some zone concepts of blocking schemes, you're able to create different lanes that you can't predict by watching the play. Sometimes it may hit front side, sometimes it may hit backside. It's really taking the defense where they want to go as opposed to duo. You're forcing double teams and putting a hat on the hat, or you're trying to create double teams on each guy. With a zone, you may be doubling up to space because you know that the guy has to meet you at that point, meet you at that spot. So he may be too slow to get to the spot. You may get there first, and the running back find the lane. or he overruns it and the running back cuts behind it, but you're always meeting at spots and points in zone blocking, which makes it easy for a guy to put himself in a position as opposed to trying to manhandle a guy out of a hole. So
Mm.
I think that flow and that space will help create a read option availability for Riley Leonard to catch defenses sleeping when they're trying to overrun and overchase Jeremiah Love and finding these holes. But it also would allow a lot of play action to set up in different ways to help the pass blocking and letting Riley get some time to push the ball down the field.
So the impact, from what I'm hearing, the impact of Mike Denbrock is going to make the other coaches better or make their jobs even easier going into this season for this offense.
Yeah, it's really about just being able to have a system in which guys can plug themselves into and know how to operate within it. So to be able to teach the zone schemes and watching cut ups and knowing the blocking protections and knowing the routes out of the same type of formations and looks is something that's feasible. So it's
Hmm.
then it comes down to reps. So the biggest thing is how many reps can guys get in this off season to get comfortable and running it in a game, because it's one to have a scheme and an identity, and then the second part of it is to have the reps and muscle memory to make it happen on the field.
So in comparison, I just want to do this because I think we both agree that, and you can go into this and break it down. We both agreed that, the talent offensively as far as quarterback and wide receivers was heavily skewed in favor of Louisiana State, LSU this year. But the offensive line and the running backs were heavily skewed, and the tight ends. Mitchell Evans is just as good as Taylor, and after Taylor, they don't have the same depth at tight end. But with that being said, from a talent standpoint, you can say offensively, it's a break even if we look at the totality of the offenses. Notre Dame ran the ball. Look, Notre Dame ran the ball 55% of the time this year, bro. 55. They passed the ball 44% of the time. That ain't gonna get it, bro. Especially not in big games. That's not gonna get it. Number
No,
one.
and we
That's
identified the games early on in the season of where we have to have the quarterback win the game. Clemson stands out. Where I told you before the Clemson game, the way we win this is through our quarterback throwing the football and
mhm,
Sam Hartman leading the team to victory. Because the running game was going to be equaled out by the talent they have as individuals defensively on Clemson, but the passing game is where we're different. It makes it hard for the Clemson defense to make us one dimensional. Sam didn't have a great day and we lost. So it's just the result of the quarterback having to have big impact throwing the football. Ohio State, the same thing. Yeah, you thought it was a good game plan, but at the end of the day, that game plan doesn't result in points. And the way to win a football game is scoring points. And if you think you're going to win on scoring low points against a great team, it's just not going to happen. You give that great team a bailout because they don't feel the pressure of having to score 21. They're like, okay, yeah, you playing us tough, but y'all not scoring either. So all we gotta do is 21.
mhm,
The way great teams loses is by getting lost in a shootout, or damn near you gotta hit who's hitting 40 first. The days of winning games 10-7, 17-21 are over for big games. The last championship last year was 66-3. so so you have to score points to win in this day and age. And the way Notre Dame thinks they're winning in big games by trying to have low point total and play keep away, great teams are going to score in 7 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Whenever you got to push a great team against the wall, more times than likely they're going to overcome, aka Washington. I'm sure there was a lot of teams that were just game playing on trying to keep the ball out of the offense's hands. But the offense is like, it don't matter if we got 20 seconds,
mhm.
2 minutes, 1 minute. If you leave us enough time, we're going to score. So this whole keep away thing is just going to end in a huge disappointment for you, because you'll realize that it's not about the time of possession. You have to score points to win. And if you give them low point total to make up with great
Mm.
players, yeah, it's going to look like that. CJ Stroud and Marvin Harrison is a perfect example. It was the first to 45 points. And damn it, Ohio State had 42, almost had it. But Georgia was on their toes the whole time. They were like, oh, we got to go shot for shot with this guy. It's not like, oh, defense is gonna get us the ball back and we'll just keep trying to make attempts to score. No. It was we have to keep up the scoring, which puts pressure on an all-time defense, which puts pressure on an offense that is just playing conservatively. You don't put the pressure on the offense to score points, you're going to lose games against great teams. We didn't put pressure against Ohio State to score points, and when they had to score, they scored. And that's just how football works. If you're a great team, you're going to find a way to win no matter how much time is left if the other team isn't trying to outscore you. We wasn't trying to outscore Ohio State. We had the longest drive we've had all season. What was it, like 12 minutes or something? Like something crazy. We that scared of Ohio State that we had to take 12 minutes to score? I mean, think about that. You're so afraid of a team that you're doing things that's not even like you as a character, you know? Why are you holding on to the ball so long like we can't go down there and hit a big play? So the strategy and the mindset has to change in that aspect.
You know something left? It goes back to a conversation we had yesterday, but I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it because I want to continue this discussion and wrap it up. D-Rock Iris, this is a good point, man. And I wouldn't know. I would have to go back and look at the targets per game. Out of the 44% passing, what was the percentage to tight ends only? You have to consider
25%.
injuries.
Because look at the amount of receptions the receiver room had. They ain't even had it. That's how you figured out what's the amount of receptions.
You know what's the crazy thing?
What?
You know what the crazy thing is, Left? Everybody was like, man, acting like we said Jordan Faison was horrible yesterday, right? And I looked at the stats. I'm like, man, did I miss something? I went and looked at the stats. You realize this dude had 19 receptions on the year, bro.
Yeah, and look like
I was like, man, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe this dude
and
had
like a superstar, Sean.
Maybe he had like 30 or 40 receptions. I was like, wait a minute. This dude had 19 receptions on the year? I was like 3 receptions.
That's the lowest bar Notre Dame has been at receiver room. 19 receptions causes attention in the fan base. Come on now. 19 receptions on the back half of the season. He wasn't even around for most of the season. Back half of the season, you get 19 receptions, and you looked at that as an impact player. You looked at as a receiver number one. You looked at as a guy that, like, he's going to make a play. You just wait and see. You hating on him. You can't hate on 19 receptions now. Come on now. But that's the lowest bar we've been at as a fan base. It tells you something. Mike Brown knows his 19. He's like, why am I going to act like this dude is the next Golden Tate?
It is. 19? Hey, man, look. This goes into the point of the strength of Mike Denbrock, which is the
Chris Fink had 49 receptions. Chris Fink wasn't looked at like Jordan Faison, and Chris Fink had 30 more catches than Faison. So what would Chris Fink look like this year?
Hey, I was shocked when Chris Fink caught that touchdown against Michigan in the first game. I was like, yo.
Whoa.
Chris Fink?
Shocked.
Word?
Whoa. Chris Fink's from Alta High School.
No. I said, no. My thing was, Left, I didn't have expectations that Chris Fink was going to come in and put up 49 receptions. Nobody did, Left. We weren't there.
Whoa. Who didn't?
Dude, Notre Dame fans didn't expect Chris Fink to put up 49 receptions.
I did. Oh, and we can call Dave Poloquin.
But see, I said I wasn't there and I'm not around. I'm talking about the fan base.
Did you think that Chris Fink, as soon as you saw Chris Fink, how similar or how easy did you think that you could replace him for CJ Sanders? Or you could replace CJ Sanders for him? How quickly, when you saw Chris Fink play?
When I saw him against Michigan, I said, okay, we're going to be straight.
I'm saying back when CJ Sanders was here.
And CJ Sanders was decent.
Right, but when you saw Chris Fink, you didn't think that, oh, these guys could be interchangeable.
No, I'm not hating on Chris Fink. I'm talking about nobody expected 50 receptions from Chris Fink in 18, bro. Nobody.
Except Malik.
Okay, that's you. I'm talking about the fan base. You expect
Right.
50 receptions from any Ohio wide receiver left.
Oh, yeah. The Ohio State,
So,
absolutely.
so any Ohio receiver coming out of high school,
Hell,
you're
how
like,
many
oh,
how
he's
many
gonna be a
receptions
dude.
Carnell Tate had this year?
Oh, it was low. It was low.
Was
I
it
don't
more than
even
19?
no, I don't think so. Because he was hurt for like 2 games at the end of the year, right before the Michigan game. So I don't think so. I don't think so. But if you put it in a vacuum and you ask me, would I rather have Carnell Tate on the team or Jordan Faison? That's no.
He had
I'm sorry,
18.
he had 18.
He had 18.
Yeah, 18.
So Carnell Tate looking like the number one receiver at Notre Dame then. You said low, and your low number is 18. So what's Jordan Pace?
Yeah, 18. He played in
Carnell
more
Tate.
games. I'm pretty sure he played in more games.
Carnell
But
Tate wasn't the number one receiver this year, and he had
no, he was the
18.
fourth receiver.
So Jordan Faison's number one?
But I mean,
If
you're talking
Carnell
about
Tate would be the number two receiver at Notre
but
Dame if
left,
he
you're
was there
talking
last year.
that's not fair because you're talking about a factory, a wide receiver factory
Wait a
at
minute.
Ohio
We
State.
put out the same amount of NFL players that they do.
Not first rounders left. No, you don't. You do not put out the same amount of first round wide
Man, are we
receivers as
talking
Ohio
about
State.
putting guys to the NFL or one round?
We're talking
Because that's
about
getting picky.
dude. We're talking about having left. Stop. You are not about to sit up here and compare what Ohio State produces in wide receivers. Look at the production from the Notre Dame wide receivers in the NFL versus the Ohio State receivers left. What are we talking about?
No, I'm not saying receiver position. I said just guys in the NFL.
No. I'm strictly talking wide receiver.
Oh yeah,
Right now because we're
not
talking Jordan
comparing
Faison.
wide. Come on, we're not comparing no damn wide receiver rooms now. Like we looking at it
It is,
like
but
you
it
said in
just
the bigger
goes
picture.
to we're talking to the strength that Mike Denbrock is going to bring. Mike Denbrock is going to use Jordan Faison the way Jordan Faison needs to be used.
As a number 3 or 4, yes, absolutely.
Whatever that is. I'm not about to put a number on it because I don't even want to
Put
get
a number on it.
the chat fired up.
But the number is a
Whatever.
respectful number because if you a walk on and you number 3 at Notre Dame, you the man. Because our
Yeah.
recruiting supposed to be so spectacular, walk on shouldn't even see the field. Walk
Or it
on
should be
shouldn't see the
tougher.
field at a place like Notre Dame. If we recruiting top 5 every year, if we was Northwestern, walk ons galore. We bottom 20 of recruiting. Who cares?
You just had to throw a dig at Northwestern, didn't you?
I'm just saying, you bottom 20, you trying to get any and everybody. You hiring anything and everything with some good grades. You got to think they got a hard recruiting thing. Not only do they got what we got on a recruiting grades wise, then you guys talk about football. That's a tough conversation. You got grades and football is tough.
Yeah.
At least academics is tough. Football not tough for us because we get it. We show you Rudy Tate. We show you a bunch of cool Notre Dame stuff.
This one dude was like, I saw this comedian was like, it kills me when they go over like the top universities in the nation. He was like, don't they all have the same textbooks? And it was funny because I started laughing. I'm like, he's like, dude, if you get the smartest kids all together, of course you're gonna have the highest GPA. He's like, duh, it's the same textbook that they're studying at the university. That's number 50. And I was like, you know what? The information is the same. But what the upgrade is that you have the smartest kids in a smaller population together, and then you have probably maybe a higher level of professors. but the information is the same no matter what college you go to. If you're studying engineering, like if you're going to be a really good engineer, you have to learn the same information that the kids at Notre Dame
But that's
are
not
learning.
fair because then you just say, okay, well then YouTube's better.
Huh?
Because it ain't no new information out there. So I mean, in that regard, you can say YouTube University is just the same thing.
No, left math is math. It's universal. Whether you go to Europe, Asia, math is math. The formulas, everything, the geometry, the trigonometry is not changing. So it doesn't matter where you go in the world, dude. It's the same information. It's the same information. No matter what language you change, it's nouns and verbs. That's it. You put nouns and verbs together. It's the same information.
See, don't no, see.
So you telling me they don't have nouns and verbs in French and Spanish? They don't. It's not the same thing.
Some
You don't
some
structure.
schools,
You don't
some
structure.
schools, some schools have speech classes and creative writing classes. That's different than an English class because
What
the
college?
teachers are teaching you how to write, how different styles of writing. English class, yeah, they got a bunch
But
of subjects, nouns, and verbs.
that's based upon. That's like saying a certain school has a different degree than Notre Dame. That doesn't make that school better than Notre Dame because they have a different class. There are certain classes that Notre Dame doesn't teach that other universities that are not ranked as high teachers.
But then that's subjective then because Notre Dame doesn't offer medical programs.
I just learned something new. Notre Dame doesn't offer medical programs, huh?
Now you can't go there and be a nurse practitioner or nothing. You can take a couple of biology classes, but you're gonna have to go to IU or one of these other places to get an actual medical or nursing degree because
Mm,
Notre Dame don't have that. So then it's subjective of okay, well, obviously Notre Dame's not the better medical school, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think having the kids with the best work ethic in one place, because smartest is subjective, but if you got all the kids that work really hard in one space learning the same information, okay, I think there's a difference because you get the hardest workers.
yeah. But I just thought, yeah, it's the same thing in Chicago, bro. Chicago schools come and steal the most talented kids out of the roughest neighborhoods and bus them to the same 4 or 5 schools, and those same 4 or 5 schools are the smartest schools in Chicago. No
Yeah,
kidding.
you taking the
No
hardest work.
kidding. You get the best and smartest kids out of every neighborhood despite race and bring them to one location, and then you're amazed. Oh, Whitney Young's such a great school. No kidding. No kidding. And then the rich
Yeah,
want
like
their kids
duh.
to go. It's like, dude, if you do that, common sense tells you, yeah, you're going to rank pretty high amongst the other schools. That's basically what the comedian was saying. Like, dude, education, you can get a great education at so many places because it's really up to the person and how they apply themselves. It really is.
But then again, thinking about football, yeah, it's football, but there's certain coaches that know more than other
Hmm.
coaches. There's like certain information that the general population doesn't know about certain subjects. Like you could
Hmm.
take a play that 98% of college football or football coaches is playing a certain way, but this
Hmm.
2% of coaching, which makes the difference, knows okay, but this is really how the plays ran more efficiently.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's like you can teach division at school and you can work out the entire problem, fill up the whole sheet. But then there's certain teachers, certain places that teach you how to get the same answer in a shortened format because they know how to do this way of math that is not really taught. It's still math, now, like you said, but it's the teacher that makes a difference.
Which is one of the points I made, right? The best teachers are usually the best teachers want to be at the best schools. So you might, but that doesn't mean you can't have an elite teacher at another school. It's some bad professors at good schools. We can stop. We can stop. You can go to the best high schools and find bad teachers. You can go to the best colleges and find some questionable professors if you talk to the students. Like that's dude. When we come to Notre Dame and coaching and Mike Denbrock, it just points out what he's going to bring to this offense, especially the run game. Left, I think he's going to make the running backs better. I think he's going to make the running game more diverse. Somebody brought it up in the chat. The offense at Notre Dame for the longest time has been, to need to say, I mean, would I be wrong in saying very easy to prepare for as a defensive coordinator? Left, maybe easy, like
Who's easier?
no, I'm saying the Notre Dame offense as a defensive staff has been easy to prepare for as an opponent
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
the predictability is much higher than other teams recently.
It's like when teams get us defensively in a position on offense, we just go into this shell where we're like, all right, we know we can get 2 yards if we do this play no matter what. It's like we lose a sense of a game plan when the game gets close. It's like we go to our routine. Let's do these 2 runs in the pass, 2 runs in the pass.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we clam up, we do that, and it's just so predictable because it's like teams look at it as let's Buster Douglas these guys. Let's just hang around, and then try to win in the end.
Bro, I'll keep it a buck. At U of I got more from my TAs than I did my professors.
That's true.
I'll keep it a buck. And that's not to say the professors weren't great professors, but I'm talking about the impact on me. Yo, my ex man, that cat Scott, my Econ 103 TA, when I tell you he got me through, bro, man, if I knew where he was, I would send that dude a thank you card every year. Every year. Because the lectures were like in Folger auditorium with like 2,000 students, bro, at 8 o'clock in the morning. That was tough, bro. It is something that I'm looking forward to, Notre Dame fans. What Mike Denbrock is going to be able to bring in efficiency, the explosiveness
Yep.
in the run game, as well as the passing
And
game.
he's gonna make stars.
Yes.
You're gonna start
And
to feel good
hopefully,
about individual players on the offense.
mm-hmm.
You're gonna
And
start getting
hopefully left.
those TJ Jones, the ones you can remember, the Will Fullers. You remember moments. He's gonna give moments to players
Yeah.
because he's gonna keep it simple, and it's gonna have to win you one-on-one. That was the biggest theme of the offense while I was at Notre Dame under Denbrock and Kelly and them. Is it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
come down to winning your one-on-ones. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. Hey, Luke Kirkwood, a lot of times I was asleep, bro. That Monday after the weekend at 8 o'clock, that was a tough one, boy. Econ 103. Woo! Lucky Lefty podcast. I just think Mike Denbrock is going to do a fantastic job. Not calling him Steve Sarkisian, not saying he's on that level as a play caller, man. But I truly believe he's going to open Marcus Freeman or has a really good chance or a better shot than Jared Parker and Tommy Rees, who were kind of on the same level. Well, you had Tommy Rees feeling like he was a head coach within his own rights, and Jared Parker, friends and relationship prior to Notre Dame with Marcus Freeman. Mike Denbrock has the cachet to walk into Notre Dame. And the same deal when Marcus Freeman said, I've learned a lot from Al Golden. Mike Denbrock has the same cachet as the offensive coordinator now. Marcus Freeman should pull and glean a lot from Mike Denbrock and learning offensive football and learning efficiency and learning how to take chances and not being so scared and trying to hold the reins tight on the game and opening things up and allowing his talent to be used to the best of his capabilities. And I think he brings, some differing opinions about how to run the ball, how to best get the best players the ball in space to make those explosive plays. His knowledge of the game, being able to set up the best players, that's what he brings. Has nothing to do with comparing the talent of Notre Dame to LSU or Notre Dame to Washington. Has nothing to do with that, man. It's about putting in the structure for how Notre Dame and Riley Leonard or whoever quarterbacks next year to be highly efficient, highly productive, and highly explosive as an offense. That's what Mike Denbrock brings. The opportunity for the best to come out of whatever Notre Dame has. You can't worry about what everybody else has. This is what we have. And this is how we can bring the best out of what we have in this offensive line, this wide receiver room, this running back room, and this quarterback room. That's Mike Denbrock's job. And regardless of what you think about the talent, you think about what talent he's had at every stop that he's had, every stop, he's gotten the best out of the players that he's had. He did it his first time in Notre Dame, he did it at Cincinnati, and he did it at LSU. That's the consistency that you're getting from Mike Denbrock. Period. And that lack of consistency is something that's been missing for a while now, maybe since Chip Long. And I don't think Chip Long's offense has performed well in big games. So we'll see. Now, I will say wholeheartedly, I agree. In big games, you need dudes. It makes it a whole lot easier in big games. But it doesn't mean that you can't make things happen in big games. Because Tyler Morris isn't a dude, but he made a big play for Michigan. He made a big play. Roman Wilson isn't exactly a dude. He's not a first, second round pick in the NFL. Made big plays for Michigan. So, hey, it is what it is, man. I think this is possibly one of the opportunities we see the Notre Dame offense transition, not from just putting up points. I don't want to say in meaningless games, but putting up points in games that really won't change the narrative about Notre Dame football. All right, GTB questions. Ryan Loftus, never been to Wingstop. What's the go-to chicken flavor? When it's seasonal, but they have a honey hot. That is left GTB question, because I know both of us, you and I both have placed orders at Wingstop.
Had it yesterday.
It's seasonal. I know they have the honey hot, a hot honey.
The hot honey fire.
They're fire. But they're seasonal though. I think it's like a spring, summertime thing.
What you got to do is get the fry seasoning and plain wings. Put the fry seasoning on the plain wings with some honey mustard.
Now, see, I'm a huge lemon pepper dude. So, if you just want to be basic lemon pepper.
Lemon pepper kind of overrated now.
No, it depends on who's making the wings.
Are you a Wingstop guy? You get Chicago-based wings.
Well, see, Wingstop is like, first of all, Harold's is highly elevated chicken wing in comparison to Wingstop, bro. Wingstop is like last resort. Wingstop is like last resort. I don't want to leave the crib. I don't want to go nowhere. I want some wings. I'll order some wings.
Last resort?
In Chicago. I don't know how it is. I know you don't have plenty of options out there.
Wait a minute. Last resort?
Dude, I have at least five wing spots I would go to in Chicago before
Harold's.
Wingstop.
Harold's, what else?
Harold's, JJ's, Sharks.
JJ's Chicken and Fish?
JJ's is fire, at least
No,
in the city.
no, not over no wings.
You can throw JJ's out. Sharks definitely. Sharks wings definitely.
Sharks and
Harold's
JJ's the
definitely.
same thing. Get a 10-piece lemon pepper, all that.
I'm gonna say it again. Sharks definitely. Harold's, Uncle Remus. I forget the other spot on the west side that starts with an S. It's like one of the straight hood spots. Like, yo, have your order placed over the phone so you can walk in, get it, and walk straight out. Because you do not want to stand in there and wait for your wings. It's right next to the Brock Candy Factory on the west side, too. What is the name of that spot? I used to date a girl on the west side. That's the only reason I know about the spot. That's number 4. And then, what's the spot downtown, dude, that starts with an M? But Ryan Loftus, the Honey Hots. My brother loves the Louisiana Rubs. But yeah, and like the Malik said, try the Jake Melnick's. Yes, and Wings Around the World on 79th over East. All of those are better than Wingstop. Easy. Wings Around the World has like 75 choices of wings from different like culinary different cuisines all around the world. It's crazy. If you ever get to Chicago and you don't mind venturing into the depths of the South Side, Wings Around the World, Uncle Remus is in Bronzeville. You can find Harold's all over Chicago. Jake Melnick's is downtown. They're world renowned for wings. Yeah, dude, Wingstop is like last resort in Chicago. Garland Doxy. That's what's up. Says, Sean, I was in your city yesterday. I don't know how semi drivers do it every day out there. Them folks can't drive nor care about semis. I mean, that's the mentality of Chicago. We don't care.
They don't. Chicago, we don't care.
But Chicago's not a city that is a heavy traffic city. Chicago's only heavy traffic like rush hour when people are trying to go to work and come home. That's like what, 4 hours a day total?
Yeah, it's still a trip though.
It's a trip, but I'm saying for 20 hours of the day, Chicagoans really don't suffer a lot of traffic unless there's heavy construction. Like if I go drive to the city right now, there's no traffic. I'm getting to the city in like 20 minutes. Easy. Easy. So yeah. Chicago drivers are buck wild. I totally agree with that. Will Lucky Lefty Podcast ever create a call-in show? Oh, Left. I'll have to see because the chat is already lit. Some of the people in the chat, or if I give them the ability to call in, I would literally have to have someone else producing the show Left to screen the callers. Because just letting people call in and say what they want to say. Because I'm telling you, there's some disrespectful cats in Notre Dame land. And yo, the one thing I'm not going to take is this. I don't take it in the chat. I'm definitely not going to take it on the call-in show. So we would definitely have to make sure the structure of the show is the structure of the show would have to be tight, real tight. Hey man, Lil Left is a star.
He's a star.
He's always gonna find time for screen. He's always gonna find screen time. Always.
Yeah, he finds his ways. Man.
He's a star. He's a star. I'm telling you right now, get the NIL bag and negotiations ready. Get it ready. He's a star. D-Rock, I know. I was a producer. It was my job to screen callers, bro. And this is the crazy thing about sports radio Left as we get ready to get out of here and put Cat Williams on the petty. It's easy. Everybody knows Cat Williams is going on the petty train today. I can't hear you. You're muted. Man, I still can't hear you. Yeah. Try to come back in. I still can't hear you. I don't know what's up. But no, it is, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to go, the craziest thing about sports radio is that producers catch more hell and get cursed out more than anybody else. Anybody else. It's crazy. I'm not the one on radio, right? I'm not the host. I'm not the co-host. But people will call in and cuss me out about what the host said. I'm talking about straight go in. And this was consistently, at least 2 or 3 times a day. At least 2 or 3 times. Minimum. It's crazy. It's crazy. And yeah. Driscoll, I don't believe, this is just my opinion. Driscoll would never do a call-in show. I would look into it. I just have to make sure that it's structured. And I might not do it, well, I would have to do it live. Or maybe if I did it through Patreon. I don't know. But I know. Driscoll, from just talking to him, he would never do a call-in show. Never. Never. Unless it was something that he knows for sure that he can monetize. If he can monetize the calls or something like that with the sponsorship for the call-in line, like you calling in to the Mazda call-in line or something like that, maybe he would think about it. Me, I'll think about it. But just from the experience of the chat every day and how personal people can get, especially during the season, nah. Nah. I would definitely need somebody, a third person, taking the calls and screening the calls during the show. Right?
Absolutely.
Because, man, I used to have to tell cats, like, first of all, calm down. Second of all, what's your point?
He told him, calm down and get on the phone too hype.
Yeah, dude. What the heck is he talking about? Like, man, first of all, relax. Relax. What's your point? And if you don't have a point, I can't put you through. And that's what people fail to realize. Like, dude, I'm the one with the power. I can hang up or I can put you through. So while you sit up here trying to curse me out, man, why? I'm here to get you to be able to do what you can do. Lucky Lefty podcast. Great show, Left. Great show.
Yes,
Fantastic show. Fantastic show.
Hey, remember, you had the power to put them through?
Yes, sir. You know, we give you nuanced conversations surrounding Notre Dame football.
That's right.
Each and every day.
Because there's a lot of meat on the bone now.
A lot of meat on the bone out there, man. Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know we spin it different. By the way, let me see what you have to say about this, Left. Let me see what you have to say about this. If I can get it, let me see. No, I can't do it that way. Let me see if I can get it this way. I know how to do it, Left. Okay, I'm gonna do it this way, Left. I'm just gonna share my boy Ryan Roberts. There we go. Tell me what this picture makes you feel, Left. Notre Dame's 4 kids down at the All-American Bowl. Kedron Young on the left, Bryce Young, Cam Williams right there, and KVA to the right. But just looking at them, Left, first of all, Keegan Young's a big dude. That's a nice size running back right there, left.
Yeah, it looks like Jabron Payne.
Bryce Young. Look at his arms, left.
I think these guys look like the 4 captains running out for the coin toss in the future.
So what you saying, like 2026 season?
25 is their first round talents.
These are the 4 captains running out for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That would be pretty dope. That would be pretty dope. KVA looks like he still can add about 10 pounds. His arms are super long too. Good gracious, that's a linebacker. Look at his arms, left. A man almost touching his knees.
Yeah, we're gonna see if he can tackle.
Lauren Landau, yeah, we'll see if he can tackle. Lauren Landau looks like it's probably looking at this picture like, I know what I can do for him. I know what I can do for him.
That's right. That's right.
That's some nice pieces of clay you can put on the potter's wheel, man. Some nice pieces of clay you can put on the potter's. Let's get to it, man. Great show, great chat. You guys are absolutely the best. We love and appreciate you. You know what time it is.
Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic? Petty Junction.
Petty train, pettiest train on the market.
Go ahead, left. Who you putting on the petty train?
Man, the Cowboy thing was huge. I think the responses are what's so funny to me. You know, Said responded, Ricky Smiley responded. Did you see that?
They all cop pleas. I don't care how visceral the response is. They cop pleas because they didn't deny anything. They didn't deny
And so,
anything.
you know, I think comedians beefing in 2024 wasn't on my bingo card, but I love it.
But I mean, what he said was in that space, but it really works in sports. Like, dude, there are always going to be cliques. There are always going to be people that sell out. Always. Man, it just is what it is, man. It was the way he went about it that made it so petty. It wasn't just the information he released. It's the fact that he went about it in a way that, it was mad petty. The way he went at. You know what I love, though? This is the thing that stood out for me. And you could say it's my bias to my city, left. Maybe it is. But the love he showed for Bernie Mac in that interview, and pretty much was like, yo, Bernie was the true king, bro. And y'all was just mad. That's why by the end of the tour, he was closing every night. Because it was undeniable. It was undeniable. And he said it doesn't matter in comedy. When it comes to the people, the funniest dude always wins. And that was a great point. No, Ed 3, the way Hollywood is doesn't creep me out, right? A perfect example. My daughter's going into Hollywood, right? She graduates in May. Her first professional show is in Pasadena, left. I'll get you some tickets. Get you guys some tickets. Her first professional musical starts in February and runs for a month in Pasadena. I'm happy that she got her first professional gig. Super excited. She graduates in May. We're gonna ratchet it up, you know, with auditions and stuff. And I trust her. You know, Hollywood is what it is. You can't change it, man. It's been like that forever. Doesn't creep me out one bit. It just really doesn't, right? You would be shocked at how the sports media space is. It's one of the most filled with lies, backstabbing places you could ever find in sports media. Literally, I would tell young people don't trust anybody from the moment you walk in the door. Not one person. Put your head down, do the work, and let the work speak for itself. But that's creepy, or could be creepy to somebody. But yeah, Cat Williams, yeah, we punch your ticket. You own the petty train today, bro. Like, there's no need to talk about anybody else. Because you literally got everybody. Everybody. TD Jakes caught a stray. Everybody caught strays. Faison Love caught a stray. Everybody caught strays. Everybody caught strays. Lucky Podcast, man. We appreciate you guys. Yo, I'm telling you, man, I'm super excited for this interview we have coming up for you guys. And then we're going to have our first show. I got Ken Gibbs is going to be in with us. We're going to dive feet first into Cat Williams and some other interesting Epstein stuff. I think we're going to talk about the Epstein list came out today. Something Cat Williams brought up. We're going to get into it. But I got Ken Gibbs over on Patreon. For love from Sean Davis, we bid you adieu. Till the next time, tomorrow. Lucky Podcast.